Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep into some pretty intense material today.
Yeah, this one's
Talking murder, poverty, moral dilemmas.
really gets you thinking, doesn't it?
It really does. We're looking at excerpts from a text that centers on this troubled young man.
A troubled soul, you might say.
Exactly. And our mission today is to figure out, well, what makes him tick?
We want to understand his motivations, his actions, and the impact he has on those around him.
I think what's going to be fascinating is how there are moments of, unexpected generosity amidst all this darkness.
Yeah, those are the parts that really make you question everything.
Right. Like, is he truly capable of good? Or is it all just a facade? Okay, so let's start with our main character.
Raskolnikov.
Yeah, Raskolnikov.
Mhm.
He's a former student, fallen into poverty, and he's clearly carrying a lot of baggage.
Even in the early pages, there's this, palpable sense of unease about him.
He's nervous, constantly
Yeah.
looking over his shoulder.
Almost like he's anticipating something terrible.
And then there's this old woman who keeps popping up in his thoughts.
A figure who seems to fill him with a mixture of fear and fascination.
It's clear she's connected to some sort of plan he's wrestling with, something that's eating away at him.
And as we delve deeper, we're introduced to another layer of this world. Abject poverty.
That's where Marmeladov comes in.
Yeah, Marmeladov, a man completely consumed by his alcoholism.
While his family struggles to survive.
His wife, Katerina Ivanovna, she's ill, consumptive, and doing everything she can to keep their children fed and clothed.
It's heartbreaking. The author really paints a vivid picture of their destitution.
And then Marmeladov, he confesses to taking his daughter Sonia's last 30 kopecks for alcohol.
It's this moment of utter self-loathing, like he hates himself for what he's become.
But he also expresses this desperate longing for redemption, for a chance to be better.
And it's in this environment, this world of utter despair, that we see this unexpected act of generosity from Raskolnikov.
Remember how he leaves money for the Marmeladov family?
It's almost done in secret, like he's ashamed to be seen doing something good.
It definitely raises questions about his true motives.
Is it genuine empathy? Or is it, like you said earlier, some sort of twisted attempt to justify something darker he's done?
And just as we start to unravel Raskolnikov's inner workings, the story shifts focus to his own family,
His mother, Pulcheria Alexandrovna, and his sister, Dunya.
both of whom have sacrificed so much to support him.
Dunya especially, she's endured public humiliation, hardship, just to help her brother get ahead.
And now she's about to marry this man named Luzhin, a seemingly respectable guy, but
Raskolnikov sees right through him,
he recognizes that Luzhin is motivated purely by financial gain.
and it triggers this fierce protective instinct in Raskolnikov, this need to shield his sister from suffering.
It's almost as if he's trying to overcompensate for his own failings by controlling his sister's fate.
And that brings us to a character who plays a pivotal role, Lizaveta.
The younger sister of that old woman who keeps haunting Raskolnikov's thoughts.
She's timid, almost childlike, and clearly taken advantage of by her sister.
And their chance encounter, Raskolnikov and Lizaveta, it's like a lightning bolt for him.
He's filled with this astonishment, this sense of recognition that's both unsettling and profound.
It's almost as if he sees a reflection of himself, or perhaps his sister, in her vulnerability.
And the suspense starts to build because we know he's retrieved an axe, hidden it away.
For what purpose? We're not sure yet.
And then it happens.
We're not told explicitly what it is.
But the aftermath is clear. Raskolnikov is shattered.
He's forgetful, feverish, consumed by guilt and paranoia.
He's desperately trying to cover his tracks, terrified of being caught.
And yet, even in this state of utter breakdown, there are glimpses of another side of him.
He's taken in by Razumihin, this incredibly loyal friend.
Razumihin shows him nothing but kindness and compassion, tries to help him get back on his feet.
It's like a reminder that goodness still exists in this dark, twisted world.
But Raskolnikov's inner turmoil is so deep, so profound, that even simple acts of kindness seem to torment him.
And we see this conflict play out perfectly in that scene with the drunk girl and the policeman.
Raskolnikov steps in to help, a sudden act of compassion.
But then there's this chilling laughter that follows.
It's unsettling, like a window into the darkness that's consuming him.
Like he's trying to convince himself he's still capable of good, but the evil he's embraced is already taking hold.
And just when you think things can't get any more intense, we're introduced to Porfiry Petrovich.
The investigating officer.
He's sharp, perceptive.
And he can sense right away that Raskolnikov is hiding something.
Their interactions are like a chess match full of subtle probes and veiled accusations.
The tension between them is palpable.
And then Porfiry pulls this brilliant move. He brings in Nikolai.
A workman who falsely confesses to the crime.
It's a test, a way to see how Raskolnikov reacts under pressure.
And it pushes him further into a state of paranoia and despair.
He's trapped between his guilt and his desperate need for freedom.
It's like a pressure cooker about to explode. Something has to give. And it feels like the walls are closing in on him now.
Oh, absolutely, the guilt, Porfiry's suspicions.
I mean, talk about pressure.
Yeah, and then on top of everything else,
What?
Marmeladov, he dies.
Oh, right, the alcoholic.
Yeah, leaves his family in even worse shape than before.
It's like one tragedy after another.
And it's during the gathering after the funeral that things really boil over.
Okay, this is Ekaterina Ivanovna's, right?
That's right, it's chaotic, everyone's grieving, emotions are raw.
And then Luzhin, Dunya's fiancé,
Oh yeah, that guy.
he accuses Sonia, of all people, of stealing money from him.
Sonia, Marmeladov's daughter.
Can you believe the nerve?
Well, it's a calculated move on his part.
How so?
He's trying to isolate Raskolnikov even further.
By associating him with Sonia.
Exactly. Remember, she's been forced into prostitution to support her family.
So it's like a double humiliation.
Right. He's trying to discredit both of them.
Ugh, that's awful.
But someone steps in to defend Sonia.
Ooh.
Lebeziatnikov.
Oh, another one of the lodgers.
Yeah, he's been observing Luzhin, and he sees right through his scheme.
So he calls him out.
Yep, exposes the whole thing. Shows that Luzhin actually planted the money on Sonia.
To make her look like a thief.
Exactly.
Wow, what a twist.
And it's this moment that really sparks Raskolnikov into action.
You can't stay silent anymore.
He explodes, reveals Luzhin's true character to everyone.
It's like all this pent-up rage and guilt just come pouring out.
And it's this confrontation that leads him straight to Sonia.
He needs her support, her understanding.
But he still can't bring himself to confess.
The conversation, it's intense.
Really gets to the heart of their beliefs.
Raskolnikov, he's so consumed by this nihilistic worldview.
He questions Sonia's faith, her belief in redemption.
It's almost as if he's trying to convince himself that there's no hope.
And then she reads to him.
The story of Lazarus.
From the Bible, a story about resurrection, about hope emerging from despair.
It's like she's offering him a lifeline.
But the road to redemption is never easy.
Especially with Svidrigailov lurking in the shadows.
Oh yeah, this guy adds a whole other layer of complexity.
He's got this creepy obsession with Dunya, right?
Right, and then he drops this bombshell.
A bombshell.
He confesses to being involved in his wife's death.
And he shows no remorse whatsoever.
It's chilling, a glimpse into the depths of human darkness.
But he's not just a one-dimensional villain, is he?
No, there are these moments of strange generosity.
Like providing for Marmeladov's children.
Exactly. It's like he's trying to balance out the bad he's done.
But ultimately, he chooses a dark path.
His suicide, it's a stark reminder of the consequences of a life without meaning.
Like a warning sign for Raskolnikov.
Yeah. If he doesn't change his ways, that could be his fate too.
And with Svidrigailov gone, Raskolnikov takes a step towards his own reckoning.
He confesses his crime.
He chooses to face the music,
And embrace the possibility of redemption.
which leads him to Siberia.
Hard labor, isolation.
The author doesn't hold back on the harsh realities of his punishment.
He's physically and emotionally broken.
But there's a glimmer of hope.
Sonia.
She follows him. Imagine that.
Talk about unwavering devotion.
She's like this beacon of light in his darkness.
A reminder that even in the darkest of places, human connection can endure.
But it's still a long road ahead.
We see glimpses of the toll it takes on everyone, like his mother.
Her mental state deteriorates. She can't bear the weight of his actions.
And then there's that recurring dream, the plague.
Consuming everything in its path. What's that all about?
It's powerful imagery, symbolizing the inner turmoil that's still plaguing him.
The destructive consequences of his choices.
But maybe, just maybe, it also hints at the potential for renewal.
Like a cleansing fire.
Exactly, destruction and rebirth.
It's like a symbol for the whole story in a way.
Yeah.
Destruction and rebirth.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there.
So much. But ultimately, do you think true redemption is possible for him after everything he's done?
It's tough to say. The author leaves that open to interpretation.
He really makes you wrestle with it, doesn't he? The complexities of guilt, punishment.
And the human capacity for change.
Right, it's not a simple black and white situation.
No, not at all.
And it's not just about Raskolnikov himself, right? I mean, his choices have impacted so many others.
Of course, his family, Sonia,
even those who are just on the periphery,
It really makes you think about the ripple effect of our actions.
how they extend far beyond ourselves.
Absolutely, and I think that's what gives the story its power.
Its timelessness.
Yeah, it forces us to confront these uncomfortable truths about human nature.
The potential for both good and evil.
And it reminds us that even in the darkest of times, change is possible.
There's always hope.
Always.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Raskolnikov's troubled soul, what do you think is the biggest takeaway?
That's a good question. I think it comes down to the power of human connection.
Sonia and Raskolnikov, their bond.
It speaks volumes about compassion, forgiveness.
Even in the face of such darkness.
She represents hope, the belief that no one is beyond redemption.
Even after the most terrible acts.
It's a powerful message.
It really is. It's like that spark of connection, that belief in someone, it can be the catalyst for healing, for change.
It can be everything.
So much to ponder, so much to take away from this story. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll see you next time.